going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be about why you should buy a Genesis Coupe. And I know I've covered this topic before, but that video is pretty old, and I'd like to make an updated version of that video because I've owned the car for a little over a year now. And also, Happy New Year to everyone. I know I haven't been uploading in like a month or so, but with the holidays and we just moved into a new house, so it's been kind of chaotic lately, but everything's sort of dying down so I can get back into uploading. Also, I just put in a new shift knob adapter as opposed to my last one, so I'll be able to screw in like manual style shift knobs onto this. So I'll make a video about this if you guys want to know where you can get one of these and how to install it. And I also repainted all of my interior trim, from my door handles to my steering wheel. All right, so why should you buy a Genesis Coupe? Well, there's a lot of reasons, really. This is sort of, in my opinion, one of the best cars Hyundai has ever built. Now, of course, there are two engine options that you can go with. You can go with either the 2-liter turbo or you can go with the 3.8-liter V6. The 2.0T is going to have a lot more aftermarket support than the 3.8. The 3.8 you can make a lot of power on, but you're going to have to spend a lot of money to do so. Also, if you like the way a GTR sounds, the 3.8 sounds a little bit like a GTR, so if you like that sound, the 3.8 is definitely the one to go for. Now, the 2.0T is the engine most people end up going with because it is very similar in design to the 4B11 that's in the Evo 10. They have pretty much the same block, and they can share stuff like valve train parts and so on. So if you like the sound an Evo makes, you'll most likely like the sound that a Genesis makes because they make a very, very similar sound. The only thing to note about the Genesis is it has a log style manifold from the factory, so you get a very low and aggressive tone as opposed to the Evo. If you swap the manifold over to a more free-flowing style manifold, then you would get more of an Evo sound out of this car. Also, in terms of reliability, after owning this car for a year, I can definitely tell you this car hasn't given me any problems that weren't the fault of the last person who owned this car. I personally had to do quite a few repairs on mine over time, but that wasn't the car's fault. That was the fault of the last person who owned it. They beat the crap out of this car, and I believe it was wrecked once. But mechanically speaking, this car has been absolutely bulletproof. The engine hasn't given me any problems, and neither has the transmission. And while we're talking about the drivetrain, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the transmission itself, because the transmission is one of the bigger things you need to know about this car, because the manual transmission for the Genesis has its issues. It has quite a few issues, particularly a second gear lockout, and the shifter's kind of sloppy, and you need to get a transmission mount to sort of clean it up, and a short throw shifter also wouldn't be a bad idea. But even still, the transmissions have problems. So if you want a problem-free trans, get the auto. That's personally what I opted for. I was going to go with a manual until I learned about all the problems. I've talked to some people who have gone through 1 to 2 transmissions a year, and personally, I'm just not about doing that, especially because my car is not in warranty anymore. Also, another great thing about the Genesis on its stock body, you can still fit a really, really wide wheel in the back. I'm running a 19x11 plus 22 in the rear, and it fits perfectly and doesn't rub at all. So you got a big booty to fit a lot of meat under in this car. Also, personally, I really like the styling of this car, especially the rear end. I think this car looks absolutely fantastic, especially when you lower these things. You have to lower this car if you get one, because on stock ride height they look a little bit like a monster truck. Also, if you like turbo noise, you're really gonna like the 2.0T because it makes a lot of turbo noise. Also, just so I don't confuse anyone, BK1 is 2009 to 2012, BK2 is 2013, and so on. And if I had to recommend which one to buy, I definitely recommend you buy a BK2 because they have more power, and it's rumored that the internals are a little stronger than the BK1s. Also, a lot of the BK1's problems have been phased out of the BK2. And on top of all that, you can get a Genesis for pretty cheap. You can get one for about $7 grand. Obviously, that'll be higher mileage, but if you spend a little extra money, you can get a lower mileage one. And over the years, this car has become more and more popular, and that's probably because it's becoming more affordable, but also because people are starting to realize what this platform has to offer. So if you're on the fence about buying a Genesis, I would definitely urge you to get one, because I have had a ton of fun in this car. Also, before I end this video, I want to let you guys know I am selling a catback exhaust. I'm selling an ISR Street catback. It's about a $700 exhaust. I'm selling it for about $400 because it's just been sitting in my garage taking up space and I have no use for it anymore. So if you guys are interested, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Also for 2020, I have a lot of stuff planned and a lot of stuff is in the works right now, so stay tuned. There's a lot coming. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.